I would like to announce that I am just appointing Maulana Afthab Cassim as a wakil. In my absence, he can make you breathe.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد صلاة دائمة مقبولة تعدي بها أن حقه العظيم. نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي العميل المكين الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. غوث أعظم بمنے بے سرو ساما مدد قبلہ دی مدد کعبہ ایما مدد قادریم نعرائے یا غوث اعظم میزنم دمز شیخ احمد رضا خان قطب عالم میزنم سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد. مسلک سرکار اعلیٰ حضرت زندہ باد. یا الہی مسلک احمد رضا خان زندہ باد. حفظ ناموس رسالت کا جو ذمہ دار ہے سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد. حامل فیض رضا مصطفیٰ امداد کن صلی اللہ علیہ النبی الامی وآلہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم. صلاة و سلام علیک یا سیدی یا سندی یا حبیبی یا طبیبی یا رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم وعلی آلک و اصحابک یا رحمت للعالمین. All praise due to Almighty Allah. Durood and salams upon the most perfect, exalted and glorified of Allah's creation, Sayyiduna wa Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Peace, blessings and salutations upon the Anbiya Ikram, Ahl Bayt Athhar, Sahaba Ikram, Khulafa Rashidin, Tabi'in, Tabi' Tabi'in, Aimma Mujtahideen, Awliya Kamilin, and all those who will follow their path until the last day. We thank Almighty Allah through His infinite mercy and for the wasila of Rasul Akram Nur Mujassam sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam for blessing us with the opportunity to congregate during these blessed nights of Rabiul Akhir Sharif and to remember him and his beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and to pay tribute to the pious servants of Allah, especially to Sultanul Awliya, Imamul Awliya, Awsul Aghwas, Farudul Afrad, Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Muhyiddin Al-Qaadiri Al-Jilani Al-Baghdadi radiyallahu ta'ala an. You just heard Muhammad Ishaq reciting a kalam of Ustaz-e-Zaman, Shahanshah Sukhan, Hazrat Allama Maulana Hassan Barelvi, Hassan Raza Barelvi radiyallahu anh, the younger brother of Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat radiyallahu ta'ala an. He beautifully says, मुझे अपनी उल्फत में ऐसा घुमा दे या गौस आज़म रदियल्लाहु अन्हु, मुझे अपनी उल्फत में ऐसा घुमा दे न पाऊं मैं फिर अपना पता गौस आज़म है. He's saying, मुझे अपनी उल्फत में ऐसा घुमा दे न पाऊं फिर अपना पता गौस आज़म. Allow me to be absorbed in your love so profoundly. Ya Ghaus Pak, allow me to be absorbed in your love so profoundly that I am unable to find my own identity, Ghaus Azam. Yani my personal identity, who I am. Let me drown myself so much in your muhabbat, Ya Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anh. I'm reading the share for barakat. And then one very beautiful share. Every share there is beautiful. One very beautiful share that Muhammad Ishaq read. कि बचा ले गुलामों को मजबूरियों से, बचा ले गुलामों को मजबूरियों से कि तू अब्द कादिर है या गौस आज़म. Now this is a discussion by itself from the share, but I'm not going to go there tonight. कि बचा ले गुलामों को मजबूरियों से कि तू अब्द कादिर है या गौस आज़म. Protect your disciples, O Ghaus Pak. Protect your murids, protect your gulams, protect your disciples from a state of vulnerability. O Ghaus Pak protects your murids, your disciples, your gulams from a state of vulnerability, for you are the servant of the Almighty Ghaus Azam. Everybody, we are all Abdul Qadir. We are all Abdullah. We are the servants of Almighty Allah. Magar Sarkar Ghaus Pak saying this, that I am Al-Qaadiri al-Mashhoor ismi. Wajaddi sahibul ayn al-kamali. Now that is a discussion, inshallah we'll discuss it if Allah wills. Last night I talked about, and I explained one share of Sarkar Ala Hadrat. जो वली कब्ल थे या बाद हुए या होंगे सब अदब रखते हैं दिल में मेरे आका तेरा. And Muhammad Sabir has recapped. He's given you a quick synopsis of what I spoke about last night. And the gist of the entire discussion last night was to understand that which Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam said. Hazrat Khidr said that all those that have come in the past amongst the awliya and those that will come in the future will all respect and honor Shaykh Abdul Qadir. This Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam said. So this statement of Hazrat Khidr, I said yesterday, is what Ala Hazrat manifested in this share. कि जो वली कब्ल थे या बाद हुए या होंगे सब अदब रखते हैं दिल में मेरे आका तेरा. So Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu's maqam and his fazilat, as we spoke about yesterday, it is a very special, a very blessed maqam that has been given to him. And that is why throughout the dunya, the Ahl Sunnat wal Jama'at pay tribute to Hazrat Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala. Now, as I said, I'm not going to take too much time every night, just short discussions for barakat. Tonight I'm going to take another share of Sarkar Ala Hadrat, and I'm going to briefly explain the share and connect it somewhere. And inshallah al-Azim, you will understand. Ala Hadrat Azimul Barakat about Sarkar Gawth Pak, he says, Kasme de de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe. Allah Allah. There is a very deep share also in Tasawwuf. Kasme de de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe. प्यारा अल्लाह तेरा चाहने वाला तेरा. कसमें दे दे के खिलाता है पिलाता है तुझे, प्यारा अल्लाह तेरा चाहने वाला तेरा. In brief, to translate it for simple language, when feeding you and saturating you, when feeding you and quenching your thirst, simple time translation, he gives you his oath most exalted. He gives you his qasam most exalted. O beloved, you are blessed with the love of Allah the most exalted. Qasm de de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe. Pyara Allah tera chahne wala tera. Now regarding this, it can be understood that Almighty Allah directly commands Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu to eat. Whatever we get is from Allah. Allah is the provider. Allah Ta'ala is a Razzaq. But there are those servants of Almighty Allah that they do not eat till their Rabb feeds them. They do not eat till their Rabb feeds them. And one of the great Imams in this level, and the Imam of the awliya in this level, is Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu. That, in other words, Almighty Allah directly commands him to eat and to drink. What was the reason for this? Because Gawth Pak used to stay away from food. For lengthy periods of time, Sarkar Gawth Pak khate nahi the. He never used to eat. And he never used to drink. But he didn't not eat and not drink to show the people. Gawth Pak wasn't doing this for riyakari. Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu was doing this for the pleasure of the Almighty. He was doing this for the pleasure of Allah. He was abstaining to fight his inner self, to fight his nafs. Yet Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu, even as a child, had destroyed his nafs. He had already destroyed his nafs. But this is the fikr. This is the khawf in the court of Almighty Allah, that the nafs shouldn't overpower me. The nafs shouldn't overwhelm me. Can you understand what is the shan of the nafs of that personality when he is confronted by dakus as a child, as a young boy, as a young man, and they're asking him, how much do you have with you? He's telling them how much gold coins he's got. Yet they could not find it. Discussion by itself, we know it. I'm not going in that direction too much tonight. But enough to understand how honest he was, because Why? Why was he so honest when they were caught by the bandits? And he said where he got the money hidden under his armpit, inside the gudri, inside the jacket. Nobody could find it. The thieves, the bandits went to everybody and said, what you got, what you got, what you got? They came to Abdul-Qadir Jilani and said, what you got, what did he say? 40 gold coins. Gold coins. They laughed and they walked away, isn't it? Why did they go away? Kya wajah tha? Have we thought about it? Why did they go away? Because they said this is a young child, young boy. From where he's going to get 40 gold coins? And that too, if somebody got coins, who are they going to tell? You're going to tell the bandits because they searched him, they didn't find anything. But finally, when many of them asked the same thing, and when they sat together and they discussed, and they said to their leader that this one youngster here, he's saying, God, he said, bring him and come. Where is it? When they ripped it off, he showed it. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak at that stage had already finished his nafs up. Even before that, he had destroyed the nafs completely, the evil nafs. Why? Because Sarkar-e Gawth Pak had reached that manzil already. And he was only making tarakki thereafter. He was progressing spiritually in the levels of wilayat thereafter. The one about this money and the coins we'll discuss another time in detail if Allah wills. But tonight I want to go into another direction. The point I'm making is that he had already destroyed his nafs. But still he was making mujahida. Look how much of exercise we make today. Let's look at ourselves. Okay? How much people spend going to gym? Let's be honest in this time. Pay for the whole year and don't go to the gym even. Money is wasted, right? Not saying go, but keep fit in the proper Shareed way is not problem. Keep fit. Keep your body healthy. Because if your body is healthy, you'll be able to stand for Allah's ibadat. You'll be able to serve the deen of Allah. You'll be able to stand firm for the deen of Almighty Allah. Right? Keep a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy heart. Very important. But how much of money people spend for exercise things? Doctor tells me my cholesterol is a little bit high. I'm walking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kilometers. Going and doing something to drop the cholesterol, doing something to drop the sugar. Why? I have to keep my body healthy. I'm doing exercise so that the body, the illness don't overwhelm me. This cholesterol don't overwhelm me. The pressure don't overwhelm me. That's what we do, isn't it? But Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu used to do exercise also. But he was not doing this kind of physical exercise. He was doing mujahida, which is spiritual exercise. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu was doing mujahida. And why he did that mujahida? To suppress the nafs that was already suppressed. Don't even give it a chance to pick its head up. That is what Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu used to do. And to do this, he would stay hungry. He would stay thirsty. To keep complete control of the nafs. And he would say, Gawth Pak used to say, he would reach that level, we'll talk about it just now. He will reach that level, if you feel I'm taking too much time, tell me, I'll stop, right? He used to reach that level where Huzur-e Gawth-e-Azam Jilani radiallahu anhu used to say, I will not eat and I will not drink till my Rabb feeds me and gives me to drink. मैं ना खाऊंगा ना पीऊंगा जब तक कि मेरे रब मुझे ना खिलाए पिलाए. I will not eat and I will not drink until my Rabb does not give me food and give me drink. Food and drink is from Allah. Allah is Razak. But what does he mean? Until the command doesn't come from my Rabb. Abdul Qadir eat. Abdul Qadir drink. Until that time Abdul Qadir won't eat and drink. That is why Huzur-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu speaks about the ilham, about the divine special message that is inspired and manifested upon the heart of a wali. That which is manifested and that which comes to a nabi is wahi. And that which comes to a wali is ilham. Hazrat Sarkar-e Gawth Pak speaks about this manifestation from the court of Almighty Allah. And he says, my Rabb said to me by commanding me, Ya Abdul Qadir bihaqqi alayka kulu. Ya Abdul Qadir bihaqqi alayka kulu wa bihaqqi alayka shrabu. O Abdul Qadir, by my divine right upon you, eat. O Abdul Qadir, by my divine right upon you, drink. Then Abdul Qadir used to eat, then Abdul Qadir used to drink. Kasme de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe. Allah, he's saying, my Rabb used to say, Ya Abdul Qadir bihaqqi alayka, my haqq that is upon you as your Rabb. Do you know what this is? This is the qasam. And that is why Allah Hazrat says, Qasme de de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe, pyara Allah, tera chahne wala tera. That's how much your Rabb loves you, Abdul Qadir. Why? Because of your qurb in the court of your Creator, Almighty Allah. Huzur Gawth Pak, radiallahu anhu, what does he say? Talking about this, where he never used to eat or drink without the command of his Rabb. And he speaks about this and he says, Sarkar Gawth Pak himself says, I shared this message today also, and I'm taking from here, he says something, he says, for 25 years, I wandered in the state of spiritual ecstasy in the wilderness, in the deserts of Baghdad, of Iraq. 25 years. I performed my Fajr namaz with the wudu of Isha for how long? 40 years. Think about it. Fajr with the wudu of Isha for 40 years. What does it mean? Between Fajr and Isha, 40 years, he continued, made namaz of Fajr with the wudu of Isha for 40 years. What does that mean? He never slept for those 40 years. He never slept for those 40 years. He was in the ibadat and the zikr of Allah. And the levels of his ibadat were such. The levels of his ibadat were such that Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu anh says that I stood on one foot until Fajr for 15 years and I completed the recitation of the entire Quran. Allah Akbar. Think about it now. How they suppressed the nafs. How sincere he was in the ibadat of Almighty Allah. How deep in the remembrance of Almighty Allah that for 25 years he wandered the deserts and the wilderness of Iraq in the remembrance of his Rabb. For 40 years he read Fajr with the wudu of Isha. And for 15 years he stood on one foot and he read the Quran in one night. And not only that, he says, I spent between 3 and 40 days in my life at a time not eating one luqma of food. Allahu Akbar. Not eating one luqma. He never used to eat. He never used to eat. While he is doing these spiritual exercises, when did he eat? Qasme de de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe. When his Rabb would tell him, oh Abdul Qadir, by my haqq which is upon you. You as my servant, that is why Abd Qadir, that banda of Almighty Allah, that didn't move this way or that way, without that command from the court of Almighty Allah, says, Qasme de de ke khilata hai, pilata hai tujhe, pyara Allah tera, chahne wala tera. And Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Mas'ud bin Abu Bakr Harimi says, Hazrat Abu Mas'ud bin Abu Bakr Harimi says, that Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu anh, once he said, and listen to this, subhanallah. He said, year after year, kai saal aise guzar gaye, I spent struggling with my nafs by putting myself through various intense spiritual exercises. Year after year. Struggling doesn't mean he couldn't control it, it means fighting. He says, I spent struggling year after year, struggling with my nafs by putting myself through many spiritual and intense spiritual exercises. Then he says, for 1 year I only ate the shrubs. Allahu Akbar. Shrubs. Vegetables, the leaves of the trees, etc. For 1 year, I only ate the shrubs, the vegetables and drank no water. I didn't drink water, I only ate that. 1 saal tak. सिर्फ सब्जी पत्ते वगैरह खा के पानी नहीं पिया मैंने. For 1 year I only had shrubs. Today you don't get 1 day, 1 week. In 1 week we don't get biryani or dal gosh or meat. हालत खराब हो जाती. We bring the roof down. Sarkar Gawth Pak is that banda of Allah Almighty. That for 1 year continuously only eating the shrubs and the plants etc. and drank no water. I'm not saying, Gawth Pak is telling you this. And he says the following year, I only drank water for 1 year and I didn't eat anything. Allahu Akbar. I only drank water and I didn't eat anything. And he said the year after that, I did not eat and I did not drink. For the year after that, I did not eat and I did not drink the entire year. There were times that I did not sleep for a single wink. I did not sleep for a single wink. During this time, I used to put myself through many spiritual exercises. Mujahida. क्या ये मुजाहिदा कम था कि 1 साल तक सब्जी कोई पानी नहीं, 1 साल तक पानी कोई खाना नहीं, 1 साल तक ना खाना ना पानी, क्या ये कोई कम मुजाहिदा था? Was this some less form of a spiritual exercise? But this is not you and I. This is Al-Qaadiri Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, I never used to sleep one wink at this time. He said there were times when I would be so engrossed, so absorbed in fighting with my nafs, that I used to roll on the thorns while making the dhikr of Allah. I used to be on the ground and rolling in the dhikr of Allah, and I would not even realize there were thorns there. So I would roll on the thorns until my entire body would be bruised and shredded and cut. In the state, deep state of dhikr, in the remembrance of Allah, कि इसका कोई परवाह भी नहीं, कि I'm on thorns, not even feeling anything. He's in the dhikr of Almighty Allah. And he said, it would reach such intense levels that I would become unconscious. He said, the people will pick me up. They used to pick me up. Gawth Pak says, people used to pick me up and take me to the Hakim. Okay, look at what has happened to Abdul Qadir. And he used to check me and check my knobs, and he used to say, he has died. Inka to intiqal ho gaya. He has passed away. He said that the people used to think I am dead, and they would prepare for my ghusl and kafan, and they would place me on the bathing board to give me ghusl, and I used to wake up by the hukum of Allah and walk. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. This is Sarkar-e Al-Azam. This is that beloved of Allah. That's why he never used to eat. I'm trying to make a point here by explaining these things. That why is it saying that kasme de de ke khilata hai pilata hai tujhe? Why did our Imam say this? To tell you that this banda of Allah, if that hukum did not come upon him, if that ilham was not coming to him, Abdul Qadir would have not ate and drank for his entire life. He would have been spending every single mini moment in the dhikr of his Rabb. He was already doing that. But he would have felt that eating and drinking is distracting him. This was the level of his ibadat in the court of Allah. This was the level of his remembrance in the court of Allah. Now I'm going to divert this topic completely right now, for you to better understand this. Why? I want to ask the question to myself and to you. Ye sab kyun ho raha tha? Why was all this happening? How did Sarkar-e Gawth Pak reach this maqam of all these things where he could do these spiritual exercises? What is it that drove him to do this? What is it that inspired him towards this? Such depths of zikr, such heights of intense spiritual exercises. What was the inspiration? What were the special blessings that descended upon Gawth Pak? What were the special blessings that descended upon Gawth Pak radiallahu anh, for him to become this spiritually charged? In layman's terms, for us to understand. What were the special blessings that descended upon Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anh, that made him such this personality that was so spiritually charged? The answer to this question, I found it in the Qasida of Gawth Pak. Answer to this question is in the Qasida-e Ghawthiyah of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anh. But before I tell you about where we find this, let me tell you about this Qasida of Gawth Pak. The Qasida-e Ghawthiyah of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is a very big wazifa. If you read it every day, you will see the barakat and the blessings that even in the language of Arabic, your zuban will become fluent. To read and understand from, you'll see that it is an inspiration that you're understanding things which you couldn't understand. This is the barakat of the Qasida. Each share of Qasida Ghawthiyah, if Allah gives tawfiq one day and time permits, maybe after these 11 days, I will try to explain to you the barakat of each share of Qasida Ghawthiyah and the wazaif that are in each share of Qasida Ghawthiyah. And what is the barakat? Even to read those as amaliyat, there is ijazat needed. Those ash'ar in that reason. Why? Because everybody can't make it bardash. Everybody can't handle it. But let me tell you about this which we are talking about. This Qasida Ghausiyya, let me tell you. I'm talking about the share of Allah Hadrat Qasme de de ke khilata hai pilata hai tujhe. Pyara Allah tera chahne wala tera. But I'm going to explain you this share in the light of Qasida Ghausiyya. Quickly. First of all, I said I'm going to tell you that this Qasida Ghausiyya is written by Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anhu. By that hand, by that Mubarak hand of Ghaus Pak, telling you his hal. And approximately 28 to 30 shares, because some have been added or some subtracted, but generally between 28 and 30 ash'ar in it. But this kalam, if you read it, you will see, although people read it in zikr, etc., in Khatme Qadriya, you will, if you pay attention to it, you will see that there are waves. You know in the ocean how waves rise and how they come down crashing. There are huge waves of Shariat, Tariqat, Marifat and Haqiqat in the kalam of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak in the Qasida Ghausiyya. It is full of ruhaniyat and so much of immense barakat, all spiritual gems. And this Qasida Ghaus Pak wrote in the Arabic language. Saqan al-Hub, it starts with. I'll talk about it just now. But if you look at that Qasida in the Arabic language, an Arab even can't say that it is written by a non-Arab. Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak wasn't an Arab. Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anhu was not an Arab. He was a Persian, isn't it? But Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anhu wrote that lay. He wrote that Qasida Ghausiyya with such fasahat and balaghat. The eloquence and the rhetoric and the purity of the language which Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak used boggles the mind. The manner in which he wrote it. And then you start to think, that this eloquence in the language and the zuban of Ghaus Pak, the manner in which he wrote this Qasida, how did this come from a non-Arab? And you pay attention to it. And you look at the language of Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anhu, and you realize that this purity and this eloquence of the language of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak is a mu'jiza of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a mu'jiza of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This eloquence of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak in speaking, in writing, is the mu'jiza of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is the karamat of Mawla Kainat Ali Murtaza radiyallahu ta'ala. This kalam of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak. In fact, it will not be an exaggeration if I say that the entire personality and the existence of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak is a mu'jiza of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. The sweetness that you find in the tongue, in the zuban of Sarkar-e Ghaus Azam radiyallahu anhu, and in the blessed words of Sarkar-e Ghaus Azam radiyallahu anhu, is a treasury, it's a treasure house of sweetness from the blessed and the sacred lu'ab-e-dahan of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The sweetness and the chashni that is in the zuban of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Ghaus Pak ki zuban mubarak ki chashni Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ki lu'ab-e-mubarak ki barakaton ka ek ganjina. It is the blessings of the lu'ab-e-dahan of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam placed his holy saliva in the mouth of Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anhu. In his dream, when he said, I am a Ajami, how am I going to lecture to the Arabs? And Rasul Pak put his lu'ab-e-dahan, and then Mawla Ali radiyallahu anhu did so. But think about it for a moment. Think about it, and you're going to see where we're going with this discussion. That such is the excellence. And we're talking, Rasul Pak's lu'ab-e-dahan, the excellence of Ghaus Pak's language, his eloquence, his Qasida Sharif. What he said. When he said, I do not eat till my Rabb feeds me, and I do not eat till my Rabb gives me to drink, then this is the karamat on his zuban. This is the barakat of the mu'jiza on his zuban. Why he's saying this? Such is the excellence you and I know. Such is the excellence of the Mubarak lu'ab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Mubarak saliva of my beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when he rinsed his Mubarak mouth in a well that was salty, it became bir shifa. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam rinsed his Mubarak mouth. He put water from his Mubarak mouth into the well. That well became bir shifa. He put it in the eyes of Mawla Ali. He became Fateh Khaybar. He put it in the eyes of Mawla Ali. He became Fateh Khaybar. And when that saliva was placed in the mouth of the beloved of Mawla Ali, the fragrance of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain, the apple of the eyes of Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Saleh, the beloved of Sayyidah Sayyidatuna Khair Fatima, Sayyidul Awliya, Mahbub Samdani, Hazrat Shaykh Muhyiddin Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu an. Then from his Mubarak lips, a declaration was made, Saqani al-hubbu, kasa'ati al-wisali, fakultu li khamrati na'wi ta'ali. This was the barakat of the lu'ab dahan of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That Sarkar Gawth Pak made this declaration, and it will give us a glimpse. This declaration of Gawth Pak will give us a glimpse how he reached this maqam qurb in the court of Allah, that he never used to eat or drink till his Rabb fed him and gave him to drink. How he reached this maqam. We'll understand from this one share tonight, inshallah al-Azim. What does it mean? Saqani al-hub, kasati al-wisali, faqultu li khamrati nahwi ta'ali. Sarkar Gawth Pak radiyallahu anhu saying, the Shair explains it in a beautiful way in Urdu. He says, Ishq ne pilai mujhko wasle dilbar ki sharab. Ishq ne, this is even tasawwuf. Ishq ne pilai mujhko wasle dilbar ki sharab. तब कहा मैंने ये मैस है, यानी वो शराब से. तब कहा मैंने ये मैस है, मेरी जानिब शिताब. What does it mean? Goblets of the beloved's potion of union, profound love gave me. Goblets of the beloved's potion of union, profound love gave me. So I then said to the potion of union, come towards me swiftly. Come towards me swiftly. Saqani al-hubbu, kasati al-wisali, fakultu li khamrati nahwi ta'ali. Come quickly towards me. He called this potion of love that brought him, was taking him in the court of Almighty Allah. So Sarkar Gawth Pak, subhanallah, if you look at the share, it can be explained in so many different ways. But for you to better understand that personality regarding whom Ala Hazrat says, कि कसमें दे दे के खिलाता है पिलाता है तुझे प्यारा अल्लाह तेरा चाहने वाला तेरा. What is his maqam? We understand it from the share. Subhanallah. Now if we look at this couplet of Gawth Pak radiyallahu ta'ala, you will see he is speaking about love granting him a drink of love. He's talking about love granting him a portion of union, of the nearness of Almighty Allah, meaning not only was he granted worldly food and drink from the court of Allah like this, magar he was given that sharab wasl. He was given that to drink, which took him, which is not physical. That ruhaniyat, that brought him so near in the court of his Rabb, that his Rabb says to him, Abdul Qadir, by my haqq which is on you, eat. Abdul Qadir, by my haqq which is on you, drink. Then Abdul Qadir khate the, peete the. That is why Allah is saying, कसमें दे दे के खिलाता है पिलाता है तुझे प्यारा अल्लाह तेरा चाहने वाला तेरा. But the spiritual drink of love, Gawth Pak is telling us, was fed to me by my Rabb, and the love portion of love which I have been given to drink, to sip, to such is so deep and has such depth in it that I have gained the nearness of Almighty Allah by the divine grace of Almighty Allah. And another way, if you want to explain and understand this, I'll take 5 minutes more of your time. If you want to explain this, understand this better, another meaning, Saqani al-hubbu kasati al-wisali fakultu li khamrati nahwi ta'ali, and understanding this qurb that Gawth Pak got, by which he used to say, and this used to happen. He used to have he had so much of trust in his Rabb, that I will eat when my Rabb feeds me. Allahu Akbar. I will drink when my Rabb feeds me. Another meaning and another sense of this, which can be understood from the share, after you look at that couplet of Qasida Gawth, I'm trying to explain that share of Ala Hazrat, the qurb that he got through the share of Qasida Gawth Sharif, is that the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Gawth Pak is telling us the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is glowing in my heart and flowing in my heart, is to that extent and so pure. That is why Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam appeared to me and placed his special attention upon me and placed his sacred saliva in my mouth. This is what we are being understood. This is what we are understanding. We are being made to understand. And then the blessings of this saliva was so mubarak that when the sacred saliva entered my mouth, when it entered the mouth of Abdul Qadir, then Abdul Qadir Jilani radhiyallahu anhu reached that state of spiritual ecstasy, that his love for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed him to drink those portions of love of the Marifat of Almighty Allah. It allowed him to do that, and it caused him to drown in this limitless ocean of love of his Creator Almighty Allah. And he says, I then called out to the drink of love. He's telling you then what he did. He called out to the drink of love. Come towards me. Come towards me. What did he say? What did he say? He said, سَقَّنِ الْهُبُّ كَسَاتِ الْوِسَالِ فَقُلْتُ لِخَمْرَتِ نَحْوِي Ta'ali, come quickly to me. He said, come, I called with this, when this ishq of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took me to this level, and I was given this drink of the love of my Creator, Almighty Allah, which gave me that, the ishq gave me this love gave me this, that I was be able to attain this maqam. He said, then I became even closer. He's explaining that he became even closer in the court of his Almighty Allah. And when one attains this closeness, then with this closeness, that banda becomes somebody that is called Abdul Qadir. He reaches this maqam, the blessing of the drink of love, of the union of the Creator, of coming close in the qurb of Almighty Allah's court, was so powerful that Hazrat Abdul Qadir was not just Abdul Qadir after that, but whilst on this earth, and even after journeying into the akhirat, he is Ghawthul Aghwas, Qutbul Afthab, and in reality, he is Bahjatul Asrar. In reality, he is the splendor of secrets, who is sharing this drink of love and quenching the thirst of those who seek the love through the court of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anh. This qurb he received in the court of Almighty Allah. And we must understand that the love of Mustafa Jani Rahmat, the love for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, granted him this special nearness in the court of Almighty Allah. And such goblets of divine love he drank, that Allah blessed him with such a great excellence, that he personally said, I do not eat unless my Rabb feeds me, and I do not drink unless my Rabb gives me to drink. My Rabb sustains me, and my Rabb nourishes me. And it is this which Ala Hadrat Azimul Barakat Imam Ahl Sunnat radiyallahu anh said, कि कसमें दे दे के खिलाता है पिलाता है तुझे प्यारा अल्लाह तेरा चाहने वाला तेरा. Now this kind of discussions will be understood by those who are the ghulams of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu ta'ala. No Wahhabi is going to understand this. No Khabis is going to understand this. Why? Because not in their league. For simple terms. Simple terms. Not in their league. This is for Ushaq and for the Muslims, the believers, those who love the awliya. It is not for those who are already destined for the denizens of hell. That is why you must understand that when we sit in the mahfil of Ghaus Pak and we look at this, we can't understand. Let me tell you, you can't understand when you listen to these things and you read these waqiyat in the authentic scripts and the manuscripts of the awliya. You cannot even understand the depth of the qurb that Ghaus Pak has in the court of Almighty Allah. When this is the shan of Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anh, then what is the shan of the Nabi Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Think about it. Something to think about. Inshallah al-Azim. Tomorrow, I will discuss another share of Allah Adimul Barakat radiyallahu anh. But I will continue this discussion and I will try and explain that share of Allah Hazrat from the Qasida Sharif of Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anh, tomorrow night, inshallah. Inshallah, Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave the world with Iman. Those who are in, Allah grant them Shifa Kamil amongst the Ahl Sunnah. Those that have passed away in Ahl Sunnah, Allah exalt them in Jannatul Na'im. The Sunni Muslims of Palestine and wherever the Sunni Muslims are going through difficulty, Allah ease this upon them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us with Iman, and when the time comes to leave, may we be allowed to leave with Iman, and may we be allowed the special and the beautiful ziyarat of the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in our graves. When we enter our graves, Allah keep us in the Sai Karam of our Mashayikh, the Bawliya, the Budurgan-e-Deen, and those who truly love and honor Sarkar-e Ghaus Pak radiyallahu anh. We make special dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses our Mashayikh with good health and long life, especially Sultan al-Sartaza, Mumtaz al-Fuqaha, Huzur Sayyidi Muhaddisi Kabir, Allah give Hazrat long life, good health, and Shifa Kamil Sehat Ajil. Special dua for Huzur Qaid Millat, Huzur Allama Mufti Asjad Raza Janashin Tajushariah. Allah Ta'ala give Hazrat also long life and good health, and keep his Sai Karam Mubas and all the ulama Haq Ahl Sunnah, the Jamaat and the Mashayikh. Allah bless them through the sadaqah of these two great personalities, and keep them with us also. Allah Iman ki saath rakhe, Iman ki saath ukhaye. All those that are participating every day in the mahfils, those that are participating in the niyaz, Allah Ta'ala give you ajr azim. Those that want to come and can't come for whatever reason, Allah give them the reward of it also. And those, especially those brothers and sisters and all who are listening online, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them also for taking their time. MashaAllah, our Al-Hajj Atif Raza has been listening from day one also, and he's been giving praises to the young boys and the youngsters who are reading Naat Sharif also. Allah Ta'ala bless them all, and Allah Ta'ala keep them all firm in the way of Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat radiyallahu anh. Allah keep us on Maslaki Ala Hadrat, and Allah protect us from the fitna of Sulh Kulliyat and all this fitna of Bad Mazhabiyat. Wa ma alayna al-balagh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.